The goal of any brand, regardless of its size, is to have conversations that lead to conversions. Now, the path, the journey between having a conversation to conversion, uh, there are a lot of elements that go into play, and there are also several other elements that go into play that lead to even to the point of having conversations. So what I want to do, I want to simplify this process on this video. And if you're a coach, author, speaker, consultant, trainer, then this video is for you. You are in the responsibility, or you have you have to generate revenue. You are in sales. Then this is for you. And this channel is primarily meant for people who are entrepreneurs, and also for those people who are seeking self-improvement, who are into self-improvement, um, who have some ideas, who have some thoughts, and they want to create that autonomy, create that freedom for themselves. Then all that is here. That's my goal. I come here on this channel literally every day, and whether you're an entrepreneur, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about sales, marketing, we talk about self-improvement, psychology, and personal development. So those are the broad categories. Of course, sometimes if I get a question, I do go create some videos specifically answering those questions. But that's the range, that's the playground. Now, how do we go from creating conversations? So what are the steps to create conversations, and what are the steps to kind of go from having a conversation that leads to conversion? That's the goal of this video. So the way I want to there is a lot that if this is, let's say this is a seminar, then this seminar may run for 5 days, literally. That's the amount of, there are so many things that go into this. But if I have to simplify this, and that's the idea, because I have 10 or 15 minutes here on this video, the entire thing, let's say you are totally new, or let's say you are in the game for a long time and you are trying to recover your brand. All scenarios play out, right? Where do you start? Let's say you're starting totally from scratch. Where do you start? And let's say you are in the game already. How do you revamp that, or how do you bring it back to life? Or let's say you were there and then you took a break or whatever, and then you're trying to come back. So how do you now recover the brand? So the first and the foremost, I wanted to think to this. The first and the foremost is the core pillar is your core identity. Okay, and I want you to envision a triangle and 3 sides of a triangle. The first side is what do you stand for? That's the first side of the triangle. So what do you stand for? The second is the problem you solve. Okay, and third side of the angle is who do you help? So that's this triangle. If you answer these 3 questions, you will get your core identity. Okay, I stand for, let's say, I stand for generating wealth. Okay, I stand for helping people to create wealth. What problem do you solve? Well, I solve, people are, they have, like they're struggling to figure out, they generate money, but they don't know how to create generational wealth. They have jobs, things like that. So I come in, I tell them, listen, I will take you, through a process that I have, and I'll show you exactly how you can take your $100,000 and turn it to $1 million, or whatever it is. And then I do that using real estate, or I do that using stocks, or I do use, whatever, or I'll show you how to start a business, whatever that is. Okay, the problem I'm solving is people deserve more, and they're not able to figure out how to do that. So I'll do that, and I stand for creating generational wealth for people. And then who are the people who I help? Well, I help people who have jobs, or let's say, and who are and you come up with the persona, or the client, or the profile of that individual whom you're trying to help. Okay, so these are the 3 sides of the triangle that defines your core identity. So once you decide on this, and everything else starts falling from there on, everything will follow from that point on. If this part is you're struggling with, what do I stand for, and the problems that I solve, and the people who I help. If these 3 questions are not clearly answered, then everything else thereafter is going to be weak, because you can't find yourself. in those conversations or everything that you do thereafter. So the next question, the next point here is I want you to envision another triangle. And in this triangle, and we are going to come up with a framework. So you have figured out your core identity with one triangle. The second triangle is your signature framework or a framework. And the framework is very simple. So it has three sides, again, triangle. The first side is pain. The second is possibility. And third is the process. Okay. So pain, possibility, process. I know this is the pain that people are going through, and this is the possibility that can happen or I could create for them if they follow this process, or this is my process. So that is the signature framework. Okay. So we figured out the core identity, we figured out the signature framework, and third, now this is where we go into creating content with these two triangles. Now again, there's a third triangle that comes in for creating magnetic content. Now, the content part is how people. It's not what we create; it's how people, engage with us. So, people always engage with you if they see you more often, if they hear from you more often, and they feel that they are understood when they are engaging with you. Okay. So three sides again, right? They see you, they hear you, and they felt understood. Three sides of creating magnetic content. Now, this is how they look at you, but what do you have to do? There is another triangle for this, which is you have to educate, okay, and you have to empathize, and you need to elevate. The three sides from your side. So of course you have to educate people, because people, they don't. So they probably know the problem. Sometimes people are not aware of the problem either. So they know they want to make a lot of money, but they don't know how. So your job is to come and tell them and show them and do whatever you have to do. So you educate them through the process. But then you also have to empathize with them. You have to tell them, listen, I was there exactly like you, or this is the vulnerabilities through which I moved my life, and this is how I recovered from my situations, and this is how I did it, and I think I'm qualified to show you how you can do it too. So that empathy is absolutely needed. And the next one is you elevate. What is elevate? Elevate is you inspire them, you create a shift within them, and things like that. So most of the times people go from just educating to elevating, and they forget to empathize, and you can't empathize with your listener or with your follower, with whoever or with the prospect. Then now you're missing one side of it. So all the three sides have to be perfectly aligned, and when you do that, then they will see you. Obviously they'll hear you, but they'll start feeling that they have been understood. And that's where massive conversions happen. Conversations happen also. Okay. Then comes the last triangle in all this. And this one is, sometimes you do all these things right, but still people want proof. Right? And that's when you bring in testimonials, case studies, and things like that. So, and then despite of doing all this, sometimes they just, you need something about you that they don't want to deal with you. I've gone through that myself. I do everything right, but somehow, I don't know, you're right for me, right? So your personality plays a role, big time. So the way you deliver the content matters. You could have the content with you, but the way you deliver, absolutely. People want to see how much confidence you have using the right words. So, it's the depth, it's the velocity, and It's how congruent you are as you are speaking, as you are. So every word that you say has to have depth, has to have measure. And then obviously presence. So you have proof on one side of the triangle, then you have your personality on the other side of the triangle, and the base of the triangle is your presence. Presence means that you come, you show up, you do it more frequently than others. So when we get our core identity in place, we get our signature framework in place, we get our magnetic content in place, we get our all the proof elements in place, and we get this. And by the way, core identity, the first one which we started with, it's not like you once you do it, it's done. It doesn't work that way, because everything is changing so fast. So you come back and revisit that every 3, 6 or 8 months, whatever, every year, and say, okay, so I started out from here, this was my journey. How am I performing? Like how the marketplace responding to me? So that has to be revisited. It's not a one-time thing. None of these things are one-time things. These things have to be visited over and over and over again till you really hone in and completely get control of this. And even if you do, in good brands, they keep going back to the basics all the time. So we do all these things, then we have incredible conversations. Now you do these things, the chances are that you do all these reasonably right. And chances are people will raise their hands. They will say, listen, how can I work with you? Do you take on clients? And now you're talking about discovery calls, you're talking about one-on-one consultations, all those things from there on. So, a long time ago, and I don't know where I read this, but when you get a sale or when you get a client, it's a reward. It's not the money, it's the reward for everything that you did right. So the more clients you get, that means the more things you did right. Okay. And of course the marketplace rewards you for the work that you are doing. The question is, how consistently can you do it? How long can you do it? And how truthful do you stay with the to the process? That's the question. And a lot of people, even though this is an incredible platform, YouTube and all, people just they come in because they want to create a presence, but then they fade out. So it's a challenge. It's very hard, very difficult. But if you stay long enough, you keep doing, and then I've seen weak identities, weak frameworks, weak content mature, become amazing because they stayed through the process. They went through this whole, and they stayed longer than everybody else in their field. So but your job is to evolve. Your mindset is, I need to go back and look at these things and I keep on evolving them. Okay, I want to stop here. Do me a favor, if this video was helpful, please click that like button so I can reach some more people. And if you subscribe to this channel, then I will be in front of you literally every day. And that's the pace at which I'm at least creating one video a day now at this point. I'll see how far I can go with this. But only subscribe if you found value. If not, then there are so many other channels, so much incredible content everywhere on YouTube or even on social media. And your time is precious too. Who you give your attention to matters. Okay, so that's all for now. Wherever you are, you be safe, and I'll be with you as early as tomorrow. So take care. Bye now.